Tendering is a distinct process of offer and acceptance where a party expresses its wish to make a contract, then invites other parties to make an offer in the form of a complying tender. They can then select from among those offers and accept one if they wish. This case occurred in Blackpool in England, a major beachside tourist destination. The Borough Council had long raised money by selling a concession to allow aviators to take people for pleasure flights over the area. For some time, the concession had been operated by the Blackpool and Fylde Aero Club, but it was up for renewal. The council called for tenders and stated that those tenders must strictly be received by 12 noon on 17 March 1983. The club made a tender which was placed in the tender box 1 hour before the deadline. However, due to an error by council staff, the box was not emptied until the next day, and so their tender was marked as received late and was not considered. They sued. This initially seems a bit odd. How can the offeror sue the offeree because they didn't consider the offer? Normally in contract law that would be nonsense. However, tenders are a bit different. What the court found was that there was a collateral contract, a sort of sideline contract hanging off the main contract. In this case, the council offered the promise that they would consider any tender that was submitted in time, and the club accepted that promise by submitting their tender in time. That formed a contract, which the council breached by failing to consider the tender. Lord Justice Bingham said that anyone who submits a conforming tender before the deadline is entitled, not as a matter of mere expectation but of contractual right, to be sure that the tender will, after the deadline, be opened and considered in conjunction with all other conforming tenders, or at least that the tender will be considered if the others are. Had the club, before tendering, inquired of council whether it could rely on any timely and conforming tender being considered along with the others, I feel quite sure that the answer would have been, of course. From this case, we learn that if a party calls for tenders, they undertake to at least consider any tender which complies with the conditions for submission.